This is your daily dose of all things royal. Welcome back, my gorgeous, good looking friends. Today, I want to take a moment to talk about this Catherine photo mess that we're watching unfold. What I find really annoying about all of this is the media and them proving essentially Meghan and Harry right in what they are doing to Catherine. Do I think that there's some manipulation going on behind the scenes of Meghan and WME? Absolutely, because a lot of this drama is coming from the United States. So you can draw to the conclusion that it is orchestrated by the dark forces that are hovering around Meghan and Harry, including Meghan herself. When people started to ask, where is Kate? And all of a sudden there was this mysterious photo that came out of nowhere from TMZ. And I'm not going to show it on here because I think that's disrespectful to Catherine. Many people were like, oh, she called Backrid and she's doing the same thing that Meghan does. You know, at first I thought about it and said, wow, I can't believe Meghan would go this far in order to put this story out there at the same time when she was on the stage virtue signaling and pontificating about online bullying. I thought it was all a little too coincidental. But then I took a step back and I said, well, you know, Backrid is a global organization, and the way that they work is that they have their photos and then they sell it to Backrid, and then Backrid then goes ahead and brokers and licenses it to a media outlet such as TMZ. Now, given the fact that the UK was prevented from showing this photo, it is possible that a UK photojournalist got the photo of Catherine with a long lens, sold the photo to Backrid for a fee, and then Backrid went ahead and negotiated with TMZ for it to be published. I wouldn't necessarily say that this was Meghan's doing, because in the UK, they weren't able to sell this photo anywhere. No outlet would have ran it. And I wouldn't put it past some of these journalists / photographers to make a buck off of Catherine, because, you know, this is their job. This is their bread and butter. And they know that getting a picture of Catherine right now is going to make a lot of money. So I wouldn't put it past some of these folks. I mean, look at what Robert Jobson did for ABC in that mockumentary for Harry and Invictus Games by saying, oh, Prince William is a little bit jealous. Well, don't you think they paid him to say that? Absolutely. And I know what a lot of you are thinking right now by saying, well, Meghan always calls Backrid and she has them on speed dial. Yes, that is true. However, Catherine's also been photoed, or at least when photos are published, some of them do say Backrid prior to Meghan. And here's an example. The difference between Meghan and Catherine with Backrid is that Backrid gets these photos from paparazzi who get Catherine off guard. It's not like she intentionally called them, as opposed to Meghan, who specifically sets up with the agency, getting paparazzi to be where she needs them to be to take these photos. And obviously, every time we see her, it's staged. With Catherine, it's completely different. You'll notice in her photos, they always catch her off guard, looking not so perfect, not looking at the camera, and just awkward, like this one. Now, there were a lot of strange things about that photo that came out from TMZ, such as why was Catherine's mom driving a rental car? And also, Catherine's face looked a little bit swollen and plump. It didn't even look like her. And as many of you know, the conspiracy theories started to go crazy online, not only online, but also in the actual mainstream media over here in the United States as well around the world. And for the most part, a lot of it was being fueled by Meghan's fan base, who just so happened to be anti-monarchists, Antifa, and BLM. Then on Sunday, we get this beautiful photo shared by the Prince and Princess of Wales of Catherine and her children for Mother's Day. Look how amazing Catherine looks, as well as how beautiful these children are growing up to be. You know that this set the Montecito witch off because it knocked her off the trending lists on X, and it practically broke the internet. So no doubt Meghan went loco. And according to Secondhand Coke, who is a trusted source on St. Meghan Markle, she heard, and this is allegedly, so take it as a grain of salt, but I believe her because of her connections in Hollywood. She writes, I heard Meghan instigated the AP strike. She scrutinized the photos with a fine-tooth comb, found negligible flaws, then called up WME demanding they use their contacts to get their picture out of the news so that her SXSW or whatever interview and Uvalde publicity stunt didn't get overshadowed by Catherine, in which it did. Like any treacherous psychopath, she can't resist tying herself to her attempts to drown out Catherine. So now her PR is pushing out press that connect her with the totally overblown incident. The thing is, like with all of Meghan's schemes, her attempt to discredit Catherine to prevent Big overshadowed herself have backfired. There's more interest in the photo with the stupid controversy than there would have been had it not been killed by the press. The press, incidentally, was very happy to go along with this as the Waleses didn't give any news outlet the photo to release, but instead released it themselves on their own social media. This whole thing is a tempest in a teapot. But don't doubt for a minute that the chain of events for this photo strike led straight to WME and straight to Markle. She's so jealous of Catherine that it's worrying. Oh, I completely agree. And if it is serious that Meghan and Harry are thinking about going back to the UK, then perhaps maybe Prince William should look into getting a restraining order and it be written so that she cannot ever step foot on UK soil ever again, just to protect his family, because she is dangerous. I mean, look at all that she has done. She lied on Oprah. She collaborated with Omid Scobie. And then this 2019 rumor that was started about Prince William having an affair, all roads lead back to Meghan Markle. And many of us are saying, why hasn't Prince William put his foot down? Well, I think he might be putting his foot down. And the reason why I say that is the behavior of the royal family over the last couple of days is just very odd and very bizarre. And I almost wonder if this is intentional. As we all know, the royals never explain. And I thought that this was so out of character for Catherine to have to explain herself on what happened to this photo. She owed no one an explanation of what she did to the photo. But I found that it was odd that she chose this particular instance to explain herself on fessing up on doing some photoshopping, which I think the end result would have been the same thing, of which the public would have pushed back to say, well, Meghan Markle, we should have killed all her photos since they're all photoshopped. But you see, it wouldn't have given the ammunition for now the journalist to write about Meghan's photoshopped photos. How many times over the years have we been calling out and pointing out all the photos that Meghan Markle photoshops with her children? Keep in mind that Catherine decided to do this and drop this photo on Mother's Day, which I think has significance in referring to mothers, real mothers who have real children. And as a result, we're seeing this shift now in the narrative of which Meghan is being scrutinized for her photoshopped photos. Do we think that this was intentional, the way that this played out, giving the green light to the media to go ahead now and deconstruct all of Meghan's lies? Starting with the pregnancy photos of little Betty taken by Misan with an iPad all the way across the pond. It was reported yesterday that a close source to the Sussexes commented stating that they would never be caught in a scandal like the scandal that Princess Catherine is in doctoring photos, of which caused big controversy online, pointing the finger towards all the photos that Meghan and Harry have doctored and edited, particularly the one that you're seeing in question, of which now Misan Harriman has been brought into this drama, as he has been the one that has been doing all these digital alterings. So now the heat has shifted onto Misan Harriman, to which he felt the need to defend himself today on Instagram. Here's what he had to say. So here's what I want you to notice. Misan right now is talking to the camera. He is looking straight at the audience. Pay attention to that.
Hey, I've just got back to reality from the Oscars, and unfortunately there's been an article on the Daily Mail saying that I have admitted to doctoring the pregnancy announcement portrait I took of Harry and Meghan. Apparently I was switching out trees and meadows, and I admitted to this in an episode of a podcast called Private Passions. This is crazy.
Now, when Misan goes into telling this bedtime story, he's looking everywhere except for directly at the camera, as he was doing a second before. Watch.
I was interviewed, I think in 2022, by Michael Barkley. I'm going to play you the segment on private passions. And we were talking about the technology I used to shoot people during lockdown. Many photographers were doing virtual shoots in those days, and this is how we came onto the subject. Michael asked me a few leading questions in this interview. What I mean by leading questions, it's what some journalists do, where they make a statement as fact and they hope you respond or add something to it. I get that a lot in regards to Harry and Meghan, and I tend to swerve, ignore, try and get back on track, and say what I'm there to say rather than any sort of intrigue and gossip. And that's exactly what happened. I'm going to play you the segment.
Photography.
Yeah, but virtual shooting. My most well-known virtual shoot is the portrait I took of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle announcing their pregnancy. It's a very joyous image. The technology allows you to take over a phone or an iPad and they can hear my voice, and I can still press a shutter and compose with ease. It's extraordinary what you can do with technology.
They weren't actually under a willow tree, but they were lying outside in a meadow, weren't they, Harry and Meghan, when you took the photograph of them?
Yeah, they were lost in their love, at home, in their garden, comfortable, celebrating new joy, new life, the fortitude of hoping for light in life after such loss that they went through with a miscarriage. So it really was a particularly joyous image to celebrate life itself.
Well,
What you witnessed was Misan completely deflecting and ignoring answering the question, which leads me to believe that he was being deceptive and trying to pass a fast one over on the public. And by doing this, they say like those that will be bold-faced liars, if they say it in conviction, then it actually could become believable, placing the bet that the more outrageous the lie is, the less that it will be challenged. And I think we've gotten to a point with Meghan Markle that she's lied so much that everything must be challenged, including Misan's word. Now, I can understand why he's defending himself so hard, because he has a lot to lose if it's outed that he is part of this charade that Meghan and Harry have going on.
So, how that exchange could amount to me admitting to doctoring an image is insidious.
Misan should have just kept his mouth shut, because what he actually did next opened up a whole nother can of worms. And let me show what I mean by that. So on top of posting this video, he then goes ahead and posts the color version of this photo in addition to the metadata, or what's supposed to be the metadata, but you can't verify if it is tied to this photo. All it says is iPad, or shown that something was taken with an iPad, but doesn't necessarily tie to the actual photo that he has now put up in question of color. Misan is denying that he didn't digitally alter this photo, which I think is a lie, because when you look at the color photo, you can see Harry's head is clearly photoshopped right here. But the new can of worms that has been opened up now as a result of showing this color photo, thanks to Anne-Marie Reynolds, you can see here that something ain't right, because this same yellow dress was featured in Archie's first birthday photo. So when you look at the dates and you start to try and put things together, you now have more questions that we should be asking. From what I can tell, this is definitely the same dress. So why is Meghan wearing a maternity dress on Archie's first birthday, which is May 6, 2020? Now, this opens up a whole set of additional questions that I have, in addition to what I pointed out in the Netflix mockumentary showing you that Meghan and Harry had used various children to represent Archie and little Betty. We know that they weren't accurately portrayed as themselves in this 6-part series. But now I'm raising the question of, in the 6-part series, this photo of Archie's first birthday compared to the video that Meghan did when she was reading Duck, Duck, Rabbit. Now the question becomes, is this really Archie in both these photos? is this photo not really on the day of Archie's birthday, but fast forward a few months later to when Meghan did this photo shoot with Misan wearing the same yellow dress? There's a lot of questions around this that just doesn't make any kind of sense. If she did take this on the day of Archie's birthday, then she couldn't have been pregnant. And if she did wear the same dress, then why is it that she's not showing that she's pregnant in this? Do you see all the inconsistencies and why this now raises a whole set of new questions here for this? I mean, obviously this woman is a fraud and there's a manipulation along the lines here somewhere. It's just, what is the actual truth? And that's the thing that I think is going to explode if we continue to keep pushing hard. And it's my hope that the media now will start digging down this path and exposing Meghan for the fraud that she really is. Because what is going on with Catherine right now is unacceptable. And we know that it's all coming from the dark forces that Meghan has behind her, with Meghan leading the charge. These are the people that want to destroy the family unit. They want to do away with any kind of stability, and that's what William, Catherine, and her family represent. They represent the family unit. Everything that these Marxists are completely against and want to destroy. And they're doing it here in the United States. Meghan is definitely an agent of chaos and destruction, and I believe that the forces that are behind her and who she's surrounded by are cultivating and egging this woman on to continue on the path of this destruction, because there is an agenda. Make no mistake about it. This woman and whoever her backers are have an agenda that is divisive and is destructive to our society. Hence the reason why, when the very beginning I said, oh, no, I do not want Meghan anywhere near New York City because of what she will bring. But in any case, it came and it's here. And now the city is completely destroyed as a result of this agenda that's being forced onto us. Now they're trying to break down any semblance of normality and being able to thrive and grow as people. It's almost as if people like Meghan Markle, who have a platform to influence, is setting people backwards, not forward, and evolving for the better. And the reason why Meghan Markle gets away with all her bad behavior with zero consequences is because the society allows it, meaning you have the heavy influences of the media who is all on board with this agenda. So you got to ask yourself this question: why is it that they continue to peddle the lies? What's in it for them for continuing to peddle the lies? Is it fear? Is it political? Is it because, they're evil themselves? Or have these news outlets just become propaganda machines in which they're being paid by certain PR firms to push out narratives that go along with what the state and government want, as well as the highest paying celebrities who can afford it to pay off these journalists? I think we have come to a point where journalism now is propaganda, essentially, as a result of it being legal. I can say here in the United States, we have the most propaganda, I think, probably worse than what you're seeing in China or in Russia. I mean, we're lied to on a daily basis. And that almost seems like that's the norm nowadays, which I think is a sad thing because it's really what is hurting society. But what do you guys think? Definitely leave your thoughts below. Do you think that we're going to see some more fireworks? I do. I think there's a lot more that's going to be exposed. Meghan keeps poking the bear, and the bear is ready to attack. And I can't wait. But definitely let me know your thoughts. As always, I will be back with more content. But until then, please be safe, and I will talk to you later. Bye.
Such a fraud.